This is Brian Margolis, and welcome to the Simplify Your Strategy, Magnify Your Results podcast, where on each episode I use the pillar system to help a sales pro, entrepreneur, or other results-based professional create a weekly strategy to run a simple, more lucrative business. A strategy so simple it can fit on an index card, but so powerful it's actually helped create multiple seven-figure earners and is now licensed by some of the largest companies in the world to create strategies for their teams. If you'd like a free copy of my book on exactly how to do this, or want to be considered as a guest on a future episode, head on over to productivitygiant.com. Enjoy the episode. Okay, so we're good. We're set. And tell me what's been going on since the last time we talked about a month ago.
Yeah, that's wow.
Full honesty. It's important to this program.
That's right. Actually, that's funny. I told my better half this morning. I said I'm gonna tell Brian every honest thing that can happen, and she said that's the only way to do it. So execution has been poor.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found was that the things that I kept trying to consistently do, which was the pillars, has produced positive outcomes. So I'm very, very happy and excited knowing that if I push it even further to complete my pillars, that I will even see more success. And it's exciting for not only myself, but my assistant.
Okay, so let's clarify that, dive in a little more. So you're
Absolutely.
not hitting your pillars consistently, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you're hitting some of them.
Yes.
Okay. And the ones you are hitting, you're feeling like there's already some small wins. You can feel an impact.
Absolutely.
Okay. I just want to review for the recording what those pillars are and make sure you and I are on the same page. And then let's talk about which ones you're hitting, which ones you're not hitting, or if it's some kind of mix. Okay.
Okay.
So the first pillar was reviewing your opportunity sheet twice a week. That was kind of your follow-up pillar, right?
Right.
Ask for one introduction a week, for referrals.
Yep.
Send 3 NSTs, 30 minutes a week of messaging, okay, both input and output. That means everything from referral scripts to getting in the door to when you're meeting with people, etc.
Yes.
1 hour of marketing research, just spending 1 hour a week learning what other advisors are doing in terms of, bringing new clients in the door. The next one was planning your week, right?
Right.
You had to cross that off. 3 hours of door knocking, and you had to reach out to one center of influence a week.
That's what I got.
Okay. Are there certain ones that you're not hitting and other ones you're hitting more consistently, or is it a mixed bag?
Yeah, I'd say it's a mixed bag.
Okay. Are there ones that you're always hitting or ones that you're never hitting at this point?
Actually, there are ones that I'm always hitting, and it seems to be the easiest ones.
Not surprising, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, that mixed bag is definitely, I kind of pick and choose what's easy to get done. And I look at my week and say, well, I can get that done and I can get that done. So, it's been an interesting month. I could tell you that. So I want to really narrow it down to being more, consistent. That's a huge word that you used. And, I know my effectiveness is there.
All right. But so you're, again, I just want to get absolute clarity here. There's not specific pillars that you tend to hit each week since you've started. It's every week some feel easier than others.
Well, definitely the one center of influence per week. That's really easy to hit. So I've been hitting
the which one? I'm sorry.
The center of influence, just one center of influence per week.
Right.
And to ask for one referral.
Mm-hmm.
and definitely planning for the week. So those have been really consistent. My messaging as well. Since I'm a lifelong learner, I'm sticking to this messaging that I'm learning. But the NSTs, the other ones are a little bit scattered.
Okay. So the NSTs, the reviewing your opportunity sheet, the marketing research, all that. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question then. There's usually two reasons you're not hitting your pillars, right? One of two major reasons. Number one, you're not actually allotting and protecting the time, right?
Correct.
So you have not given yourself the time, blocked it out, it's preferably in the first part of the day. And then you're not actually, if you are blocking it out, you're not protecting it, right? So basically, the first reason you wouldn't hit your pillars, you don't have the time because you're not blocking it, you're not protecting it. The second part is you are blocking and protecting the time, but when you sit down to actually execute on your pillars, you're getting distracted. You're going on to other things. You're letting other things jump in the way because maybe you're having trouble concentrating and you're looking for excuses not to do them. So is it one? Is it two? Is it both?
It started off as both, but it ended up later in the month. So the last couple of weeks have been number two, not protecting it.
Well, no, not. There's blocking it out and protecting it. That's the first reason. The actual slots are there. The second reason is you have 3 hours in the morning, 3 times a week to do it. But during that 3 hours, when you start on it, you wind up procrastinating, getting distracted, whatever.
And that's it right there is the distraction.
So there's a number of cap strategies that we can implement, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, without a doubt, the easiest one, the most powerful one based on what you're saying is the cap strategy of time blocking and routine. Okay? Meaning you've got to protect the first few hours of every day or some days. All right? And that's when you hit your pillars every day. Meaning there's a few ways. What time do you generally, let me ask it this way. What time do you generally start in the morning?
I'm in the office no later than 8:15, but I'm up at 5 every morning, kind of looking over stuff.
Well, but you don't start working till 8:15.
Correct. Yeah. I got a long commute, so.
Okay, so let's just call it 8:30. All right, let's just call it 8:30 for now.
Mm-hmm.
So when do you tend to schedule client meetings? Do you have a time frame, or it's just whenever they come? Do you do them in bunches?
It was in bunches. I would say to the my assistant, get them on the books. These are the times that I'm available, and these every other week I stay until at least 7 at night. So if there's folks that can't get it in there during the day, we can at least get them in at night. But I gave her free reign on that, which kind of was it didn't help with my time blocking because she was able just to go over what I was trying to achieve, which was blocking out those times. So
right. So to me, okay, here's what Parkinson's law basically says. Parkinson's law says your task will expand to fit the time you give yourself to do it. Okay? It's the reason that, the day before a vacation, when you have a flight the next day, it's amazing what you can get done because you have to get it done by the next day, right?
Yep.
Or because your flight's leaving. If your flight was until the previous evening, you wouldn't get it all done the day before. You'd probably actually do it that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
My point is, does that make sense? You've experienced this.
I'm living it right now.
Yeah. So whether you're in the office on your non-alternate week, what time do you tend to leave the office?
Between 4:30 and 5.
Okay, let's just call it 5 for a second. whether you work from 8:15 to 5 or you work from 11 to 5, I'm telling you, you're going to get all the same stuff done. I know that's hard to believe, but I see it over and over and over.
We just lived it this week.
Yeah, and so so the easiest, the simple, I won't say easiest, the simplest thing to do is let's get a routine based on this law. And here's what the routine says. Basically, from once your meetings start, do you tend to go meeting to meeting to meeting? Do you have long breaks, or it depends?
Yeah, it depends.
Okay. This is what I would do if I was you. I would block out 4 days a week. Do you ever have clients who just absolutely have to meet in the morning?
No.
No. And that's usually not the case, right?
Right.
So here's the way I would do it. I would block out every day from 8:30 to 11. Or if you want to start out with just 8:30 to 10:30, that's fine too. Right? 8:30 to 10:30, and then your first meeting can be at 11 if you want it to be. All right?
Okay.
And and by the way, when I say block it out, I mean in your calendar, okay? In your calendar, every single day, it's booked till 11 or 10:30, whatever time you decide, right? It's booked. Now, if you want to say, well, there are certain mornings I want to do this or this, you can do it 4 days a week for 3 hours, right? But what I'm getting at here is when you get in the office in the morning, okay, you basically need to do two things. You need to plan your day, and then you need to spend the rest of that time till your first meeting working that plan, all right, methodically. So, for example, on Monday, all right, on Monday, you might be, and it's in my book, The Whole Planning Your Day, and it's going to be part of this product, The Planning Your Day. But let's say on a Monday, you plan your day, and on the left column, right, in your priority column, you say, okay, if there's only one thing I could get done today, number one would be, send my 3 NSTs, right? Number two, review my opportunity sheet one time. And number 3 is 1 hour of marketing research, right? Let's just, again, I'm just saying that. So once you've planned your day, the first thing you do is you work on your NSTs. Now, here's the discipline. I don't want you to get distracted. I want you working in airplane mode. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I don't want your phone, your email on, all that stuff. Okay. I want you to send those 3 NSTs. And even though you might say, oh, it should only take me, 45 minutes to do that or something. If it takes you an hour and a half because you get distracted or whatever, so be it. But here's the rule. You do not start on the second thing until you're done the first thing. You've got to start training your mind to start something and finish it, right? So the point is, you have now from 8:30 to 10:30 after you plan your day to basically do 3 things: to knock out your NSTs, review your opportunity sheet one time a week and do whatever you need to do from that, and then do your 1 hour of marketing research, right?
Right.
And the idea is, even if after the NSTs, your whole entire day falls apart, the roof floods, your kid has to be picked up from school, whatever, it doesn't matter. Because you said that's the most important thing I have to do that day, right?
Right.
I promise you, if you do that, once 11 o'clock hits or whatever time you're going to stop your first meeting, all the other crap's going to happen. The fires are going to happen, the back and forth, the emails are going to be flying, whatever. All right? You're going to deal with all that. And when you're done at 5 o'clock, you'll be done at 5 o'clock. I know it sounds so stupid simple what I'm saying, but there's this book called Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss and another one called Tribe of Mentors. And it's basically 2 huge volumes of him interviewing the most successful people in the world. And what's crazy is this. The one pattern I just saw with successful people, not ever all of them, but a pattern. Number one, a lot of them have practice some form of meditation, which in a way doesn't actually surprise me, because all meditation is learning how to concentrate, right? So they're probably good at focusing on a task and finishing it. But the second one is all successful people control the first part of their day. You have CEOs that work for 2 hours at home before they go into the office. You got all successful people control the first part of their day. Okay. And once you come on this side, William, you'll never go back. All right. You'll never go back. I protect 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock every single solitary day. It's not even an option. And it's like I'm golfing. I'm in airplane mode. I might as well be on an airplane. Right? I might as well be on an airplane at that point. I work on my first thing. I take a little break. I work on the second thing. I take a little break. Sometimes on those breaks, I'll check my email real quick. But I know I'm going right back to that next thing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So you can't, and maybe I've said this before, but you can't get back on track unless you actually have a track, right? Now, once 10:30 hits or 11 and you actually start your day, you start doing appointments and returning calls and checking your email and all that kind of stuff. When you have breaks in your day, right, between meetings and stuff, you know exactly where to go next. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You might not want to go there, but you know exactly what has to be done next. And so your most productive days are very slow, and they're very intentional, and they're very methodical, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in terms of protecting your day, do you see any reason why you can't protect 8:30 to 10:30 for the entire, basically ongoing? I mean, I would do it for the next year. I'd put an automatic thing in my calendar.
I don't see any problem with protecting it. In fact, that's kind of what my assistant wants as well.
Right. Okay. So now, once you're in, so that's number one. And by the way, it's kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're going to get distracted. Things are going to happen. That's okay. Bounce back. Maybe one day blows up on you and it shouldn't have, and you're mad at yourself for letting it. That's all right. Do it the next day. Do it the next day, right?
Right.
And then again, and now it's up to you. I don't know how many appointments you actually have, but if it's so tight that you have so many appointments, then you could say, all right, well, Wednesday is my door knocking day or my out and about day or whatever. So that morning, I'm not, I'll do my appointments in the morning or something, right?
Right.
But here's what I really want to say. The decision, you don't want to have to decide each day. The decision should already be made for you. Make sense?
Not really.
Okay.
As far as, can you explain
the
that?
decision meaning when someone calls you and says, "Oh, that's great. Can we do 9:30?" There's no decision to be made. The decision's been made. No, I can't. How's 10:30? How's 11? Right?
Right.
You don't have to decide each day, okay, what do I want to do first? You plan your day. The first thing you do, and by the way, if you want to check your email first thing in the morning, in order to help plan your day, like did anything come in since last night that's urgent or whatever, or that I need to know, that's fine. But that doesn't mean you have to go through all your email. You just need to open it enough to sort through it and see if there's anything that, affects planning your day, right?
Correct.
That doesn't, so, time yourself if it becomes an issue. But do not let it send you down. So use your email, plan your day. All right. Just like I talk about in the book, just like I'm going to be talking about in this product, plan your day using that system or some other system. From 8:30 to 10:30, go to work. And if you're not working on the next thing, then you should be staring at a blank screen or taking a break or walking around the block. But you should not be doing other stuff. You should not be answering your phone, things like that, right?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions on that? Any honestly, realistically, do you see anything keeping you from doing that?
No. I mean, just going off topic here, it's kind of ironic because both my assistant and my significant other think I have ADD because I cannot finish one task
Right.
and lists and everything. So
You
said it
don't.
right. It's stupidly simple.
It is.
And so
But
just
William,
doing it.
let
Yeah.
me be very clear about something. First of all, I don't want to trivialize people who actually have ADD and ADHD, and I don't actually claim to understand all that. I'm not a doctor, right?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
But 8 out of 10 of my clients at some point will tell me they have ADD. No, seriously. It's rare that a client at some point doesn't tell me that, because here's what I've really diagnosed you as. I've diagnosed you as human. All right?
Okay.
You being that distracted and having the ability to concentrate on something and then finish it, that's actually the norm, not the exception, just so we're 100% clear. That is the normal, more so in these times than ever, with all the beeps and buzzes and all that stuff, right? Our attention spans.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's why I just got done telling you the most successful people in the world basically practice concentrating, because you can actually get better at concentrating, and they control the first part of their day. Right?
Yeah. No, this.
And so, although this is simple, I don't sit here and claim that what I'm asking you to do is easy, but it's not as hard as you think. You just need to think of your day as slow and methodical. And all you got to do is follow the one simple rule. Once you've planned your day, you do not start the second thing till you finish the first. You do not start the third thing till you finish the second. You're working with a very relaxed intensity. Okay?
Well, that would feel better than what I'm working with right now.
Correct. And by the way, I know we've identified these as the most important things, all right, that you have to do. Let me tell you something. The parts you're good at are the parts everyone's good at. Everyone can pick up the phone. Anyone can deal with something that's urgent and significant. Everyone shows up for their client meetings, right? Everyone checks their email. Like, that's the easy stuff. The stuff that separates people from the pack. Did you ever notice the most successful people tend to look like they do the least? Like,
I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of the, I've been around some guys who are worth tons and tons of money, right? And sometimes you don't understand. You're like, how does this guy get dressed in the morning? Like, they're so aloof. Their attention to detail is terrible. They piss people off, right? They're I don't want to say they're always late to stuff, but they're late to things, or they forget about things, or someone else is always like putting out the fires for them because of stuff they've created or not worried about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of them need assistance and things like that, and that's fine. But the reason a lot of those kind of people are so successful is because they tend to focus on the important things. They don't need to cross every T and dot every I, right? They don't get paid for efficiency. They get paid for, in their whatever their field is, doing the important things, right?
Yeah.
So it's right. Kind of like that, but you need to borrow a little something from that. People tell me all the time they're unorganized, and I tell them, being unorganized in and of itself is not a problem. You can be very unorganized and be successful, okay? It's what does being unorganized actually keep you from doing? That's the problem. If it keeps you from doing, your pillars or the most important things, right? Then there's an issue.
And that's where I'm at. I mean, that's it right there. Is that trying to create that organized tasks? It never flows, and so I'm glad we're talking about this right now.
Well, listen, there's a lot of cap strategies we can talk about, but to me, this one will solve 90% of the problem. All right.
Okay.
This one will solve 90% of the problem. And I'm telling you, you need to get to the point where if you're working during that, again, are you thinking you're going to block till 11 or till 10:30? What are you thinking?
I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I'd like to say 10:30 because I want more of my day to do other things.
Well, that's fine. So we'll start at 10:30 and see how that works.
Especially the ones that are marketing. I mean, I haven't done any of the marketing.
Well,
So,
no. You're saying 10. I'm saying from 8:30 to 10:30. That is when you work on your pillars and your proactive things, right?
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying is like maybe I should even use that extra half hour till 11.
Well, that's what right. So why don't you do this? Just go till 11.
Yeah.
See, like me, for example, and I can only speak for myself, but by 10 o'clock most days, if again my roof flooded or everything stopped and I had to cancel all my clients for that day, I pretty much got the most important things done. Once 10 o'clock starts, I don't care. At that point, I'll go back to back to back with clients. It doesn't, that's just something that's more of a time management scheduling thing, right? And I can, I'll just get after it that day and things can get crazy. But no matter how crazy they get, it doesn't matter because I did the most important things that moved the needle that day, right?
Yeah, this kind of feels.
It's like you have to be the CEO and you have to be the person who executes, right? You have to be the employer and the employee. From 8:30 to 11, you need to build your business, do the important things, right? From 11 o'clock, you need to start working in your business, actually executing on the things that your pillars, et cetera, have given you, like scheduled calls and all that.
Yeah, it's definitely taking me out of my element psychologically because you think that you have all these other important tasks to get done, but I can see the relevance of getting these pillars completed within that time block in the morning.
Right. And
It's going to feel unnatural.
and it's not always just pillars, right? For example, like for me, again, my 7 to 10, your 8:30 to 11, I have my pillars are inside of there, right? But there's some days where I might have to, for example, create slides for a presentation, right? I make that decision every day. I look at my weekly index card, I look at my to-do list, whatever, blah, 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 and I go, okay, if I can only get one thing done today, if I can only get two, if I can only get three, and sometimes those things are pillars and sometimes they're not pillars, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're definitely proactive things. They're things that I need to focus on or else it's going to, it's going to come back and bite me, so to speak, right?
Right.
And so, and by the way, the other thing I'll put in there, and you read about these in the book, are the flash hours, meaning when you operate this way, and you should, a lot of little things start building up, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of little things start building up. So when those build up to the point where it's actually straining you, you can have like the third most important thing you do that day, a flash hour, meaning you set your clock for 60 minutes and then you just attack your to-do list, all the little stuff. Go email this person, respond to that, book my travel. And in that concentrated hour, it's amazing what you can knock out. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't
No.
want you to think that it has to be all pillars in that time. It's going to be heavy on pillars. And then the second thing is I don't want you to think you can't work on this stuff after 11 o'clock. When there's downtime or when you have a gap or someone cancels, I'm sure you've had clients cancel on you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably happens pretty often. Okay. Well, most people's response is, oh, the client canceled. And they check their email looking for instructions on what to do next. Right.
Right.
And no, you know what to do next. It's the thing you haven't crossed off yet.
I think psychologically, this is just going to help me go throughout my day when I can get a lot of the most important work, that significant work done early. Because I know when we talk about pillars, we're talking, executing them throughout the week. But I like to break it down and say, well, if I can get these done today, so I'll get my 3 NSTs done on Wednesday. I can do my door knocking on Monday. I'm all over the board that way. And this is gonna be literally the make your bed kind of deal, and get it done every morning. So that consistency right there is going to help me psychologically complete my days.
So now let's talk about, now it's 8:30. You've planned your day, right? Maybe you took from 8:15 to 8:30. You planned your day, whatever. Now it's time to start executing. There is, like you said, the other problem was trouble concentrating, right?
Right.
Procrastinating, all that kind of stuff. And so let's talk about some cap strategies inside of that, right? And one of those cap strategies, which sometimes makes people laugh, but tell me if this will help you, is to change your mood, right? Meaning, if you're going to be working from 8:30 to 9:30 on something, let's just call it an hour, right? If you're really not in the mood to do it, you're really having trouble getting started, because that's usually what it is. It's more about getting started, right? Once you're kind of in action, action usually precedes motivation. It's not always the other way around. And so you're better off, I think you would agree, instead of fighting through it for an hour and struggling, having 45 minutes of getting after it, right?
Yeah.
And so what I suggest to people is change your mood. And what I mean by that is, and that's different for everybody, but like for me, there's certain trainings on YouTube, certain trainers that just get me in the right mindset, right? To get after it. So you should have those linked, or you should know who those people are. I'd rather you watch a motivational training or an informative training, or just someone who, puts you in that mode. I'd rather have you watch that for 15 minutes during that time. And then when you kind of feel like you're ready, then get after it, right? If there's certain music, play music for a while, right? Walk around, play some music, do whatever you got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For some people, it's talking. There's certain people, like I have a partner, a PG partner, I call him, right? That usually when I talk to that person, I cannot get off the phone without wanting to get back to work, right? Because that's what we're talking about, getting stuff done and all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Crushing it and different things. Sometimes for some people, it's just getting out of the office, whatever it is, but change your mood. I mean, everyone always knows that the body controls the mind. The body actually influences the mind as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just mind body, it's body mind. Tony Robbins, when you change your physiology, you change your mood, right?
Yep.
And so that's one strategy you should think about. As far as concentrating, you can improve your concentration, right? You can actually there are exercises to improve your concentration. I'm not going to go into them here, but if you Google them, they're pretty much all the same. They pretty much go to the fact of focusing on something for a certain amount of time, being okay with distracting thoughts coming in and just letting them go, right? And getting back on focus. You do that in short periods of time. And then the other thing I'll mention, and then you tell me, what you think, may or may not work for you, or what you need help with. But the other thing is your environment. You've got to set up your environment to win. You want to win the battle before it even starts. So if you need to go to a different place in your office just to focus on your pillars, go for it. If you need to turn your Outlook or your email system into airplane mode, do it. Do not let incoming emails come in. Because you can write emails in that mode, and then when you go back online, it'll just send them all, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You've got to set up your environment ahead of time to win. There's a great book called Willpower Doesn't Work. And the title is very misleading. I know why they call it that. But it's basically an entire book on how to win the game before it even starts by setting up your environment right. Called Willpower Doesn't Work. So let me ask you, any other reasons you think you aren't hitting your pillars, or reasons that you may not hit them in the future?
No. Distractions, definitely number one. Not protecting that time. It's literally the stuff that just got in the way. And then I felt like, well, I didn't hit my 3 NSTs this week. I'll look this weekend and see what I can do, and it doesn't get done. So
you know what? I'm glad you just brought that up. Hold your thought for a second, because I got to make something clear. Your week should start on Saturday and finish on Friday.
I was starting it on Sunday. So
okay. Here's why. Let me tell you why. In the world of pillars, you want your week to start on Saturday, because if you're going to work on the weekends in your case, you want it to be a positive thing that you're getting ahead, not a negative thing that you're being punished. And then you feel that stress that, oh, I didn't do my NSTs this week, or I didn't hit my pillars, so I got to work this weekend to hit my pillars, right? Because even if you don't work, you're going to feel miserable. And if you do work, you're not going to be happy. So you lose either way, right?
Correct.
Start your week. Your weeks start on Saturday. They end on Friday. If you don't hit your pillars, you start again on Saturday. If you do 3 NSTs on Saturday, then you just got ahead for the next week. All right?
Perfect.
All right. Go ahead. Continue.
No, actually, in the last month, I redesigned my office. Literally took everything down, replastered the walls, painted, made it a better feeling. And my assistant loves the pillars, by the way. So she's really focused on helping me with some of those little minute things like NSTs, which has worked. So there's no reason why this couldn't get done. It's just executing it.
Listen, that's not the issue. I mean, I when you look at the total hours it takes to hit your pillars versus how many pillars you work, hours you work, it's actually a very small percentage.
Yeah.
So I think we're on the same page with that. I just want to make sure before we finish this call that there's nothing else you think you may struggle with these pillars or that you can think of.
No, they're so specific. It was ridiculous what we did a month ago compared to what I did after reading your book. And it's very simple. So there should be no reason why it can't be done.
Okay. And do you feel like you have the right pillars?
You know, I do. I was thinking I was having really success with both the center of influence and the referrals. We only have 1 per week in there, and I thought maybe I just bump it up to 2.
Keep it at 1.
Keep it at 1. Besides that,
it's a minimum.
Right.
It's a minimum. Look, the most important thing right now, okay? The most important thing right now is not even the impact your pillars are having. Okay? Because again, we know the pillars work on the compound effect. This is about where you're going to be 6 months from now, where you're going to be 12 months from now, right? The most important thing for you right now is establishing the habit of executing on your pillars. That's when everything changes for you, based on my clients and my work, it's when pillars become this open loop in your head that just has to be closed. You're not thinking about it as a work thing, as a compound effect thing. It's like, here's my pillars. I'm crossing them off. I have to get these crossed off. You should feel the same way about not hitting your pillars. Like when you drive down the road and start going, oh, wait, crap. Did I leave my front door wide open? Right? Mm-hmm. And you're like 90% sure you closed it, but that little piece of you can't shut it off till you go back and check, right?
Yeah.
That is how hitting your pillar should feel.
Okay.
And the only way you're going to get there is by hitting them week in and week out. So if anything, I'd rather you reduce your pillars than add things to them, right?
Okay.
They're minimums. You can always do more, but I want you to hit those things week in, week out. That habit of pillar execution is everything. That's what will carry you for years and years and years.
With that said,
I'm at the point personally where I can put anything into my pillars. If you told me to practice the trombone, which I don't even play, for half hour a week, and I decided that was the best use of my time, I'm practicing the trombone half hour a week. Because not hitting my pillars is just, it's just not an option.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm not saying every week, every year I hit my pillars every time. Things happen, you get sick, whatever. But, I always know I'm clear that I didn't hit my pillars. And I feel the same way about not hitting my pillars as if I didn't show up to my, didn't even show up that week. Right.
Right.
I didn't get all my work done, period. Anything else before we wrap it up for this call?
No, I want to get to that feeling. That's really what it's about. I want to get to that feeling where I'm pretty happy on executing on all those pillars.
Well, you can definitely get there. So we'll wrap this one up now.
Okay.
I appreciate you
participating, taking part.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Simplify Your Strategy, Magnify Your Results. If you know someone you think could benefit from this episode, be their hero and share it with them. If you'd like a free copy of my book or you want to be considered as a guest on a future episode, head on over to productivitygiant.com. Have a great day and thanks again.